It's game day, and we're thrilled to have GM Kevyn Adams joining us here, and it's hard not to still be talking about an incredible individual performance that Tage Thompson authored, but he's done it more than once this year. And you know what? So did you during the course of your career. Not only 2 hat tricks, 2 natural hat tricks in your career.
Wow.
What stands out from that?
The fact that you know that's impressive. That's what stands out.
Might have just learned that.
Well, you know what? To be honest with you, the year I had the 2 hat tricks, I hadn't scored to start the year. I hadn't had a goal, and I don't even know how many games. And then I got a natural hat trick, and then within a few games, I got the second one.
Oh, my.
So I did have my first 6 goals that year were on hat tricks.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. How do you make sense
He
of that?
does it against the King, Henrik Lundqvist, and Ilya Bryzgalov, which
true.
ended Ilya's night, by the way. So
Yes.
King Universe. King and King Universe. Any empty netters in there?
No.
All against goalies.
And
Wow.
in saying that, I didn't have 5 in the game, either game. I had 3, so there's a big difference.
We're all kind of fixated on it, right, Marty?
Yeah, so when you watch Tage, what is more impressive? The power behind a shot, 100 miles an hour, one-timers or whatnot, or the finesse with the hands? What's more impressive?
Well, I don't
This
know.
or that. That's
yeah,
this
no,
or that.
I'd say I don't think I can honestly tell you, because I think it's the combination of the ability to do both or all of that. And, I think what Tage has worked really hard on is he has the skill. We've seen that for years, and the hands and the ability to beat guys one-on-one, but now using his body to protect pucks, using his body to take the puck hard to the net, to the inside, and then let his skill come out. And, before he was ever in that spot on the power play, we used to talk about that his ability to one-time the puck and is elite. So this isn't something that just happened overnight. And, I'm happy for Tage in the sense that you guys have seen it for years. Put the work in, just hang in there through tough times. And it wasn't that long ago that he was on the taxi squad or out of the lineup and, kind of trying to find his way. And, I remember a couple of years ago spending a lot of time with Tage, just sitting and talking to him and just say, this is part of the journey. You got to hang in there. And so it's good on him, and, I'm happy to see what's going on.
You say you're happy for Tage, and you got to say, well, I'm happy for us, the organization, because kind of like Nathan MacKinnon when he signed his contract, and for years it was like, Nathan MacKinnon's making $6.5 million? What? And Tage's contract's not going to start until next year. So for the organization, that has to be wow, that's pretty good.
Well, I think part of our job, and as we evaluate and in management and make decisions, is we have to look at what we see every day, and you look at the numbers and the data, and the feel of it all matters. But you have to try to project players that are going to continue to get better, and you want to try to get in front of it. And I said right after we announced Tage's contract that I truly believe he's got another level to go and to keep getting better, and he's wired that way. He wants to be great. He puts the work in, and that's what gives you comfort, getting ahead of a situation and signing a player to a contract like that.
What do you think it does for the group, based on how close they are and just the peer-to-peer recognition? Don talked about it a lot yesterday, just how excited everybody else was for Tage in the moment. But Marty put it on the contractual page here. I mean, you will have guys as soon as I don't know, a few weeks, a few months when you get Dylan Cousins done, and you look and you project. I mean, do you sense that it makes it in any way, I'm almost reluctant to say it, but easier in your position when you get foundational places, presumably like a Thompson, in place?
Well, I think roster construction is critical for sustainable success, and you've heard me talk about this before. We're working really hard towards making sure we set this franchise up for sustainable success and long-term success, and these are key decisions that you make along the way. And what you've also heard me say over and over again is we want to be disciplined in the way we make decisions and put our roster together to be able to reward the players that are here and part of our core and that we see as critical pieces moving forward, to be able to put these guys under long-term contracts or make sure that we're doing the right thing. So obviously that was part of our mindset with both him and Sammy. In the off season, there's more players coming, and we've talked about that, and that's why you've heard me say in terms of even the development side, you look at the Cousins line and the way they're starting to really push and go. If we made decisions in the offseason and we blocked the young players and the minutes they're getting and the experiences they're getting, you're not able to truly evaluate what you have, and two, you're holding guys back. And now you go through the ups and downs, and you have to be able to live with that and have the patience. And that's part of why I always talk about the discipline it takes to put a roster together. And we have a plan, we're sticking to it, and we'll just keep doing it.
Okay, so you just said we have a plan, we're sticking to it. But your team is first in the league in goal scoring, right? And that, I'm not saying that wasn't to the plan, but it has to be a pretty happy surprise to see that they're performing to that level. How often do you sit in your office and think, could I accelerate that plan? Could I press fast forward just a little bit? Not like looking so far ahead, but just a little bit.
Well, I think, Marty, it's a fair question, and what I think a lot about is, you guys know we're in a process of building our team, and we can't fast forward. We have to go through steps. Now, it doesn't mean you don't wake up every day and evaluate and say, is there ways to improve our roster? Tyson Jostein claim on waivers, we felt was an opportunity to improve our roster and make a strategic type of move that, so we did it. Of course, we're going to have those conversations, but as I look at the process we're in right now and what we're going through, you don't want to get away from evaluating progress. So progress is the way our team is starting to come together, the way the players are going, the offensive side of the game. Now the process we're in is still evaluating and making sure that we're putting the puzzle together the right way. And of course we want to make sure that we're always in every conversation. We're going to do that, and that's my job around the league and have those every day. But we're in a development phase from goaltending, defensemen, forwards, and you want to accelerate the development of that as quick as we can. But I truly believe the success we'll have will come from us making our younger players grow and get better and learn and improve in every way, and that's where we're focused on.
How is that working out for you in Rochester, where the group is incredibly young down there, especially from a high skill standpoint? I don't recall seeing a time where there's that many high skill players, high draft picks that are that young in that league all at the same time. How would you assess either individually and or collectively they're performing?
Well, it's unique, and that's not by accident. We wanted to make sure that when we kind of go back to the beginning when I first started in this role, that we were truly putting together a pipeline of prospects and really focused in Rochester on development. And I give Seth Appert and the coaching staff there a lot of credit. I promise you that not every American League coaches would be excited about having 4 teenagers in the lineup or whatever it is. I mean, that's not an easy league, and you guys know that. But I'll say this. They are learning and growing, and there's a really good template that the coaching staff can use when you look at J.J. Peterka and Jack Quinn and others, Samuelson and guys that came through, that these players can say, okay, this is the path, and this is what I have to learn, and this is what I have to do to get my opportunity to move up. And we're never going to hold players back. When we feel they're ready, we want to move them along and bring them here, but we don't want to rush it either. So I'm excited the way it's coming together. I think, looking at the way a player like Kulich is at 18 years old is starting to really grasp the pro game. But you can go right down the list, and Kisikoff and Rosine, and these players have started taking steps, and that's the real young ones, And then there's the next tier of guys that have played really well down there too, the Murrays and Biros, and so we feel good. But we're in that phase right now where we want to make sure that when we need depth, we have the depth and they're ready to step in and play. But we also don't want to rush the real young players and put them in a spot they're not quite ready for.
So what you guys did over the summer to not rush certain players, but also open up opportunities for some other youngster like Quinn and Peterka, has brought in Lyubushkin and Comrie. They're both injured right now, and where are they at in their recovery and their process to be back, and seeing if there are the right pieces to fill up some of those holes?
Well, I'll tell you, just start with those two, just from the character and the way they've integrated into the team, and has been phenomenal. They've come as advertised, and I think everybody, if you grab guys in our locker room, just tremendous people, and the character and the culture and all the stuff that happens. Now, the on-ice part, it's tough. They're both out right now. They're frustrated. Lyubushkin's in a spot where, you guys saw the play, and it was a pretty impressive block. But those things can, if you hit in the wrong spot, you can be out for a little bit. So the good news is he's working out, he's doing well, but he's just having a little bit of trouble putting the skate on and being able to, do what he needs to do. So he's still a bit of a ways away. And Comrie, actually, all things considered, is, I would say, ahead of schedule. The tricky part with his injury in the goaltending position is just up and down and, all the movements that you need. If he was a forward or defenseman, he might be on the closer side to getting back in the lineup, and, but as you know, it's just not the same as a goaltender. So we're still a little bit of a ways away, but he's an incredible. They both are incredibly hard workers, and they're both doing everything they can to get back quickly.
Do you have an idea how many prospects the organization will have at the World Juniors? And as a general manager, what do you make of situations when you're, like a Savoy doesn't get brought to a camp?
Well, I think you can look at it two ways. If I start with Savoy, first of all, I think he's played really well. Yeah, of course, all of us were disappointed that he's not on the Canadian team. It's a tough team, especially he's at that age to make. But hey, you can look at it two ways. You can be frustrated if I'm in his shoes, or you can use it as motivation. And I can tell you, the way that kid's wired, this will push him. Yeah. And actually, so I look at it as, I could probably after World Juniors tell him this, but I think it's a positive for him. But it's frustrating, every kid wants to play it. It's an amazing tournament. But, with Oslin, Rosine, Kulich to be there, I think will be great. Oslin's coming off an injury that he's been out for a few weeks, but it looks like he should be fully healed and ready to go for World Juniors, which I just think, having played in the tournament myself, it's just a great experience for a young player to get. And I was talking the other day to some people about, especially with Rosine and Kulich, who are, they're young, they're in a man's league in the American Hockey League. This is an opportunity for them to go be around their peers, wear their country's jersey, just kind of maybe get a little bit of that home feeling, which I think will give those guys just a little bit of a jump, going into the second half of the season in Rochester.
And last one for me, we talked a little bit, but Dylan Cousins obviously needs a deal for next season. Rasmus Dahlin will enter his last year contract, same with Owen Power. Are you kind of thinking the same thing, where it's let's look as early as possible ahead? Where's the timeline for especially those three contracts?
Yeah, so I think you guys know now that I'm certainly open to that. We've proven that if we think there's the right opportunity to do a deal, then we'll do it. And I have no problem saying, publicly, these are three critical guys for us moving forward, and we see them as a Sabre for a long time. So we'll be proactive. We'll have conversations, and when it comes to these things, it takes time. So they don't happen overnight. You spend a lot of time going through it, and you want to make sure both sides are comfortable. But so yeah, once we're allowed, we'll certainly have those types of conversations, and we'll see where it goes. But the most important thing is these players have gotten better and better every day. And they're really important pieces for us moving forward. So we'll be working on it.
And to be clear, Cousins could sign now for next year, but Dahlin and Power can't until July 1 of next year.
Correct. They're July 1.
Because they have to wait until that
Yep.
time.
And Dylan's in a situation where he could. And, I'm also one of the, I'm not of the mindset where you can't do something during the season. You can. For me, it's all about balancing, distractions and all of that versus, okay, let's just park it for now and we'll work on it in the off season. Either way is fine. So we'll see. We'll just keep having conversations, and I'm not concerned about it though. Those players know what we think of them.
And do you have a favorite flavor of BioSteel?
Yeah, it's it's actually, I don't know, it's the other one. This one's okay, but I really like the
rainbow one?
There you go.
We had that at the draft.
We had every one of them at the draft. My goodness.
I had 100 of those at the draft. I don't know what was happening.
It was kind of where we're always going to remember where it started with all of us with BioSteel. It was at the draft in Montreal.
Exactly.
Thank you for everything today.
Yeah,
Appreciate
you're welcome.
it.
All right, guys, take care.